What's up everyone, I'm Stephen Fabian on this Cinco de Mayo. Today, going away to college takes on a new meaning. That's coming up, and later, teens from LA band together through their unconventional sport. Channel 1 News starts right now. Choosing the college that's right for you is a tough choice, but what might be even harder is figuring out how you and your parents are going to pay for it. Today, Jessica Kumari tells us how more and more Americans are saving money by taking their quest for knowledge north of the border.
It may only be a few hours' drive from the U.S. border, but for the American students at Montreal's prestigious McGill University, Canada has become a passport to a much more affordable college degree. 2,200 Americans make up 12% of McGill's undergrads. 12%, among them, Emily Cox of Chicago.
Well, it came down between McGill and Georgetown University, and it just came down to money. Georgetown's $45,000 to $50,000, McGill's $20,000, and so obviously I chose McGill.
$20,000 could still be considered a lot, but Canadian schools charge 30% to 60% less than private U.S. schools, and that has more and more American students choosing Canada as the cheaper option. 9,000 are now studying in Canada. That's up 50% since 2001, attending 60 Canadian schools, like McGill, Carleton, University of Toronto, Dalhousie, and UBC.
Canadian schools are easier to get into in some cases, but they're harder to stay in.
At a high school in Vermont recently, a sign of the times, as parents and students crowded into a Canadian college recruiting night. The biggest issue? Money.
It looks like we will save between $20,000 and $30,000 a year.
Why are Canadian schools so much cheaper? Because the Canadian government provides a large chunk of their funding, and Americans can still use their 529 college savings accounts, U.S. loans, even apply for scholarships. While some Canadian universities require American students to submit ACT and SAT scores, many more don't. That's right, no essays, no interviews. In Canada, admission all comes down to grades.
We are not trying to sell a cheap education. We're selling a quality education.
Of course, there are differences. No fraternities or sororities. And not a lot of college football or basketball in the Great White North.
So if you're coming to Canada, you definitely need to be prepared to watch hockey.
So whether you're watching Canadian hockey or American football, remember, there are billions of dollars out there in financial aid. So it is possible to pay for school using good old George Washington's or using Canadian dollars, as long as the price is right. Jessica Kumari, Channel 1 News.
For all things college, there's only one place to go, channel1.com. We're back with your headlines after this.
The music you're hearing in today's show is by Royal Bliss. Go to channel1.com to vote for your favorite Hear It Now Artist of the Year and enter for a chance to win an iPod Touch.
The few, the proud, the Marines.
You will experience fear. Fear in the face of certain death. Leonard McCoy.
Jim Kirk.
Good luck.
This is your day of reckoning.
All right, we're back and heading here to the newsroom to check out today's headlines. And Ali, the famous wardrobe malfunctions back in the news?
That's right, Stephen. The Supreme Court said yesterday that a fine for the malfunction should be looked at again. If you don't remember the moment, it happened during the 2004 Super Bowl halftime show when Janet Jackson was exposed for an instant while on stage with Justin Timberlake. The Federal Communications Commission, or FCC, fined the CBS Corporation who aired the game $550,000. Last year, a U.S. Court of Appeals threw out the fine, saying it was too harsh for the, quote, fleeting moment. Now the decision to take another look at the case comes after the FCC appealed the decision to the Supreme Court, who just last week said the FCC can threaten broadcasters with fines for using swear words even if it's their first time.
All right, let's jump over to Gary.
Stephen, a new national endangered list was just released, and it has nothing to do with animals. The National Trust for Historic Preservation named the top 11 most endangered historic places here in America. On the list is the Century Plaza Hotel in Los Angeles, California. Not only is it known for its curved architecture, but for its moments. It's where Ronald Reagan celebrated his wins.
Thanks very much.
And where the Apollo 11 astronauts celebrated their return home. But a new developer wants to replace it with these. Frank Lloyd Wright's Unity Temple near Chicago joins it on the list. It's weather-beaten and in need of repair. There's the aging Memorial Bridge between New Hampshire and Maine that may not be able to bridge gaps in the state budget, as well as the Miami Marine Stadium, once architecturally significant, but now drowning in a sea of neglect. Also on the list is the Historic District in Galveston, Texas. Now, Galveston is an island right outside of Houston, and you may remember that last year it was destroyed by Hurricane Ike.
And I have a swine flu update. Armed with hand sanitizers, students at St. Francis Prep returned to class yesterday after the outbreak forced the school to shut down. The New York high school was closed last week for cleaning after more than 100 students complained of flu-like symptoms. The city health department is now saying that the school had 45 confirmed cases of swine flu, or H1N1, and while officials believe as many as 1,000 people associated with the high school may have been sickened, only 73 cases have been confirmed in New York City. The week-long break seemed like more than enough for these students, many of whom were eager to return to their classes.
It's time to come back, I think. The school's been closed long enough. They did take the right precautions for cleaning it and all that stuff. But it's time to get back to work and all that stuff. We've been off for a little while, and we have to make up all the work that we missed, you know?
While these students are looking forward to returning to class, new reports of the swine flu are threatening areas in Syracuse, New Mexico, and Arizona, where many high schools have decided to shut down as a precaution.
Now, we also want to remind you guys that May is National Youth Traffic Safety Month, so over the next few days, be on the lookout for some public service announcements about safe driving, and get this, they're all produced by teenagers. We're right back after this.
Keep the Drive, a program of the Allstate Foundation, presents today's Ride On. For information about smart teen driving, check out keepthedrive.com.
Thomas has the moves.
Ain't no I in team. What about group? Gang. No. Ensemble. You just mispronounced that word to make it sound like it had an I in it.
Megan has the dream.
I want to dance.
That's on you to make your dream come true. Oh, black girls. I don't know you.
On May 22nd.
Here to pick up my son. Hey, son. I'll be back next week to pick him up again.
Dance flick. Rated PG-13. May 22nd.
You mean that she said, oh, you turned my eyes so...
Sports have always been a great way to bridge differences and provide opportunities. And as Justin Finch tells us, for teens in South Los Angeles, their sport, with its oblong-shaped ball, goalposts, and teamwork, is taking them places they never thought it could.
If you think football is a contact sport, meet its older cousin, rugby. It's hugely popular around the world in places from New Zealand to England. But South Los Angeles? It might seem odd to find a rugby match in South LA, yet here it is, and here they are, the ISEF Rugby League.
It's something about the sport. I mean, either you love it or you hate it, and I love it. I mean, you got to stay dedicated to it. It's not a sport you take lightly.
You can be rough with a guy, and at the end of the day, you can shake his hand, get a job. That's why I like this.
The safer you play, the less you get hurt.
For the last 7 years, ISEF, the Inner City Education Foundation, has been introducing rugby to students at 13 high-performing LA charter schools.
It was a whole entire different language, whole entire different world, country, whatever you want to call it. That was nothing like anything I've witnessed or felt before.
Just a quick review of the rules. Rugby, like football, has an oblong-shaped ball, but there are 15 players on each team, and each player plays both offense and defense. To score, you have to either kick the ball through the post or run it into the end zone. And this year, ICEF showed its players a different side of rugby in England. The best from LA got to see just how good they are by traveling to England for a week and facing off against a high school team from Wellington College.
It opens these kids up to the world and a world of possibilities. So it's not just rugby. I mean, what other things will I face in life that wasn't a regular expectation, but I have the confidence that I can succeed.
And that's not all. So far, kids from this program have been to Hong Kong and New Zealand.
When I went there, I was like, oh, I'm in Hong Kong. But when I actually looked around at the difference, I was like, oh my God, I'm in Hong Kong.
I wasn't even thinking like going out the country, maybe like a cruise to Ensenada, but not flying to Hong Kong to compete, that never crossed my mind.
Proving that the contact isn't only in the sport. Justin Finch, Channel 1 News.
Ready to give rugby a try? Well, we've got a rugby training guide for you over at channel1.com. And that's almost a wrap for this Tuesday. I'm Stephen Fabian. Have a great Cinco de Mayo, and check out this one more thing before we go. No, don't fix the volume on the TV. And yes, this might be the strangest dancing you've ever seen. It's something called a silent dance party. This one from over the weekend in Washington, D.C., and these quiet shindigs have been popping up all over the country. A lot of them are being organized through websites like Facebook, and how they work is simple. People gather at a designated place with their own headphones and their own music.
Girlfriend by Avril Lavigne.
And all at the same time, they hit play, cutting the rug to songs only they can hear.
It's just a better way to express your own individual styles.
The goal, to have some fun and make people passing by scratch their heads.